Manchester United are working on a deal for top managerial target Ruben Amorim. United sacked Erik ten Hag on Monday after Sunday's defeat at West Ham left the team down in 14th place in the Premier League. Ruud van Nistelrooy has been confirmed as interim manager ahead of the midweek Carabao Cup meeting with Leicester City. Sporting boss Amorim was among the big names linked with the Liverpool job over the summer before the Reds moved for Arne Slot. He has also been heavily linked with Manchester City following the announcement that Sporting's Hugo Viana will take over as City sporting director when Shiki Begiristain leaves the Etihad Stadium. But now United are moving swiftly, ready to pay Amorim's £8.3 million release clause to bring him to Old Trafford. The 39-year-old has led Sporting to 2 league titles in Portugal and has Sporting top of the Primeira Liga with 9 wins from the first 9 games of this season and has made a fast start in the Champions League. Amorim has already been asked directly about links to United. "I was already expecting this question and obviously I'm not going to talk about the future, because otherwise I'll always have to comment," he told reporters. "I'm very proud to be Sporting coach, that's all." Sporting are in Portuguese League Cup action in midweek, hosting Nacional in the quarter-finals. Amorim has won the competition twice with Sporting, in the 2020-21 and 2021-22 seasons, and also lifted the trophy with former club Braga. United announced ten Hag's departure with a 4-sentence statement on Monday. Erik ten Hag has left his role as Manchester United men's first-team manager, it read. Erik was appointed in April 2022 and led the club to 2 domestic trophies, winning the Carabao Cup in 2023 and the FA Cup in 2024. "We are grateful to Erik for everything he has done during his time with us and wish him well for the future." Ruud van Nistelrooy will take charge of the team as interim head coach, supported by the current coaching team, whilst a permanent head coach is recruited. 6 of United's next 7 matches come in front of their own fans. 2 of those are against Leicester, 1 in the Cup and 1 in the League, while the run includes home Europa League matches against PAOK and Bodo/Glimt. Brentford boss Thomas Frank is also admired, and refused to rule himself out of the running on Monday. He said, "I've got a big responsibility to Brentford, their fans, the leadership, players, staff and I have one focus, to beat Sheffield Wednesday in the Carabao Cup. I've said many, many times, I'm very happy here. I think it's one of the best clubs in the world. What happens in the future, who knows? But I'm very, very happy here. I always try to be as transparent as possible. I would repeat myself. I'm very happy here and I can see myself here for a long, long time. I've also said that maybe if something comes up, an opportunity I'd like to try, okay, let's see. But now? No. I'm very, very happy here." Erik ten Hag is no longer the manager of Manchester United. After weeks of rampant speculation, boardroom meetings and back-page headlines, the plug was pulled on ten Hag's tumultuous 2.5-year tenure at Old Trafford. Following Sunday's controversial 2-1 defeat away to West Ham, the Red Devils are languishing 14th in the Premier League table with more losses than wins after 9 games. United are also yet to win a single game in Europe this season after 3 attempts, form which ultimately made the Dutchman's position untenable. With ten Hag immediately replaced by fellow first-team coach and ex-Red Devils striker Ruud van Nistelrooy on as a caretaker basis, the United hierarchy are now searching for a new permanent manager who can bring the glory days back to Old Trafford. "We gave the Mirror football team that same task and here's who they each believe should succeed ten Hag. For a club that is supposed to have adopted a more professional approach under new leadership, Manchester United's handling of Erik ten Hag has been nothing short of calamitous. Keeping ten Hag on, having interviewed potential successors, allowing him to appoint a new coaching team and have a significant say in signings made in the summer, only to sack him 13 games into the new season, is incompetence of the highest order. Whoever comes in to replace ten Hag faces a huge challenge and it will take a manager of authority, experience, charisma and substance to turn United around and take them back to the top. If United are looking to appoint the best and for the team to have a clear identity and playing philosophy, then Sporting Lisbon's Ruben Amorim is the leading candidate. Amorim has transformed Sporting into a formidable side, one that plays with style and personality, which is why he is also being looked at by Manchester City as a potential successor to Pep Guardiola, should he leave at the end of this season, when his contract expires. Appointing Amorim at the expense of City would represent a huge coup for United, with the 39-year-old one of the most sought-after young coaches in Europe, along with Xabi Alonso, whose Liverpool links are likely to rule him out of the Old Trafford job. Other candidates to succeed ten Hag include ex-Barcelona boss Xavi, former England manager Gareth Southgate, Brentford head coach Thomas Frank and Graham Potter, whose last job was at Chelsea. But if the new regime in charge at United want to atone for their ham-fisted handling of Ten Hag, they could do a lot worse than recruit Amorim, a progressive, forward-thinking coach who has already won 2 league titles with Sporting and who has shown he is ready to take the next step in his career at a bigger club. The tipping point was cruel. Ultimately, Ten Hag lost his job over a penalty which was a sick joke and a glut of easy chances spurned by his players at West Ham. But there had already been so many tipping points at Old Trafford on Ten Hag's watch that Ben Shepherd should be the next United manager. No, it wasn't Ten Hag's fault that United couldn't hit a barn door at the Taxpayer Stadium when the team he picked was markedly superior for 3/4 of the contest. And, no, it wasn't his fault that VAR Jobsworth Michael Oliver poked his nose into a scuffle where Matthias de Ligt did nothing wrong and the Hammers somehow got a penalty out of it. Having said that, Manchester United can't be 14th in the Premier League, 12 points off the pace, and 21st out of 36 in the Europa League, with only the likes of Smorgasbord Rovers and hurdy-gurdy Rangers below them, entirely through bad luck. If Sir Jim and his inner sanctum base their choice purely on football merits, it needs to be someone who will excite the fans, someone like Sporting Lisbon's Ruben Amorim. And if United are lucky, Amorim might even bring his prolific Swedish striker Victor Gyökeres, 14 goals in 12 games this season, with him. What an absolute pig's ear Manchester United have made over their handling of Erik ten Hag. Now his fellow Dutchman and Old Trafford favourite Ruud van Nistelrooy has the chance to claim the job on a permanent basis just like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in 2019. But the Norwegian was not the long-term solution then, and Van Nistelrooy will not be the transformative change required. What is needed is a cultural reset at a famous old club which has lost touch with its identity, like the England team before Gareth Southgate. The former Three Lions boss would bring sense and stability to the job, and emphasize the honor it is to play for the great club, even if his brand of football is not exactly scintillating. Southgate has said he wants to take a sabbatical from football for a year, but he is never going to get the opportunity to manage a bigger institution than Manchester United. The Old Trafford club should give him the hard sell and convince him he is the man for the job. Has there ever been such an uninspiring list of candidates to take on such a massive job? Xavi and Zinedine Zidane have the records, but there are still major doubts whether that could be translated away from their spiritual homes either side of the El Clasico divide. Thomas Frank? He may have worked wonders at Brentford, but has never finished above 9th in the Premier League. Ruben Amorim is probably the outstanding choice, but why would any aspiring manager want this job? Until Ineos can prove they are semi-capable behind the scenes, any manager worth their salt should bid their time for a better gig. It's not the best option, but the timing of Ten Hag's sacking means that Van Nistelrooy now has a much friendlier list of fixtures to get started with. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the next 4, with a bit of panache to go with the results. People will probably get overexcited, and despite them insisting work is being done on a permanent successor, he will be given the job in about March. When Ruud van Nistelrooy joined Manchester United's coaching staff over the summer, I can't have been the only one who saw it as an insurance policy in case things didn't work out with Erik ten Hag. Van Nistelrooy has the combination of that nebulous concept of United DNA and experience of winning silverware. You might argue it's just a domestic cup, but Mr. Ten Hag has repeatedly assured us those are significant trophies. I'm not here to deliver a revisionist history of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's United tenure. When it got bad towards the end, it got really bad, but the high points provided evidence for those banging the drum for someone with a connection to the club. Things have changed in the 3 years since, not least with the arrival of Ineos, but Van Nistelrooy at least knows the scale of what's required of a United manager. The upcoming fixtures ought to give the Dutchman something resembling an audition for the gig. There are plenty of other factors to consider, of course, but at Meg.